beneficial. Today I wanted to take you guys through gold and how to invest in it. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about tackling that, and at the same time, with the rising inflation rates and the lowering of the value of the US dollar, I think now is a perfect time to talk about this, and it's a perfect opportunity to invest in gold because I don't think the prices are nearly what they are going to be in the future. But there's a lot of different ways that you can invest, whether it be stocks or ETFs, and then I'm actually going to talk about Bitcoin and how it kind of relates to gold, and if you want to invest in one or the other or both, just so that you make a better investment decision on your behalf, whatever you decide to do, that you're more educated about that. So historically, in tough times, people have tended to rush to gold. Whether that be a stock market crash or a period of high inflation, people tend to move towards gold because it's like a safe haven. It's a hedge against that inflation. And right now, I think that there's a very high possibility that the stock market does crash, and inflation is definitely playing a big part too, as people are not really recognizing or acknowledging the fact that the U.S. government is just dumping money into the U.S. economy. They're flooding everybody with cash that they haven't worked for. So the production level of the U.S. is lowering significantly, and the U.S. dollar is also lowering significantly. So it's kind of like a double whammy. You're getting less production, and the value of the dollar is worth less. So that's going to lead to higher inflation in the future. And the printing of all this money is not solving any of our money problems as a country. All it's doing is postponing them until a further date, which is going to come at some point. So hopefully now you see the value that gold brings to the table. With the rising inflation and the lowering of the US dollar, now is a perfect time to invest in gold. Because right now I think it's at a perfect price point. You've got gold mining stocks, you've got gold ETFs, where you kind of just have a pile of gold locked in a vault somewhere. That basically just tracks the value of gold. So you don't have to buy physical gold if you don't want to. And so these are all great options, but I'm going to start with the gold mining stocks and the two that I think that you should be investing in right now that are at very good price points. So the first company I want to go over is Newmont. And they are a gold mining company, ticker NEM. And what they do is basically they just engage in the production of gold. What I love to see is a lot of institutional investors are dumping money into this company also, and I think that this is because they see the same thing that I do. They see rising inflation, lowering the US dollar, and they're trying to buy something that's a hedge for that inflation. They're trying to combat the inflation. I think it's a very good company to be invested in. They've been around for a long time, and they've proven themselves. And year over year, their earnings have been very consistent. So now I want to go over their TipRanks to see what other investors had to say, just to kind of compare my opinion with theirs. That's what I love to do with most of these stocks, as you've seen if you've watched any of my other videos. So right here, they got it at a moderate buy. Right now, it's sitting at $54.31. But you have 5 hold ratings, 4 buy ratings. You got an average price target of $69.14, which is a 27.31% upside. But listen, I think it's going to go up way higher than that. I could see it hitting the high price point of $81 in less than 12 months. I don't know how long it'll stay at that point, though. I think if it starts going up, it's going to get very speculative. And then if you buy in right now, you'll be able to get out. You'll be able to make a lot of money fairly quickly, I believe. And when you check out their smart score, they're supposed to outperform the market at a smart score of 9 out of 10. You have a consensus moderate buy on the Analyst Ratings, a very positive TipRanks investor sentiment. Blogger opinions are bullish, and the news sentiment is bullish. And also a ton of increased hedge fund activity, which is just beautiful. The technical momentum is down 9.1%. But to be completely honest, I think that's a good thing. I think now is a perfect buying opportunity. And the next stock I want to talk about is Barrick Gold Corporation, ticker GOLD, G-O-L-D. And right now, I just think that they're at a point where it's kind of unexplainably low. The recent earnings have been great, but the stock's value did not follow that whatsoever. So I think right now is a perfect buy point for it. So I think that the value of Barrick stock is going to go up significantly on the back of gold price gains. So back in 2011, when gold hit its $1,800 price peak, this stock was sitting at about $50 a share. And right now, it's at $18 a share, and gold's sitting at about the same price it was back then. So you can see the discrepancy there. There's a big price gap, and I think it could go back up to that $50 mark that it was at before when gold was at this price. So with that, I wanted to see what TipRanks investors have to say about it, if it aligns with my opinion, and what's going on in the gold market for Barricks. So when you look at them, you can see that they're a strong buy. They have 5 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, and they have a 47.73% upside. A lot of people put the median price target at $27.36 with a high price target of $29 and a low price target of $25. And right now it's sitting at $18.52. So, I mean, if it goes up to the lowest price target, you're still going to have a significant gain. They got a smart score of 7, which is a neutral. But their analyst ratings give it a consensus strong buy, with very positive sentiment for the TipRanks investors, and increased hedge fund activity by 3 million shares last quarter, which is incredible. Again, the technicals are kind of negative, the negative 30%, 12-month change. But again, I think this just gives you a better price point to buy in at. If you didn't want to buy into a stock, you'd rather do an ETF, you weren't really into the mining companies, well, you could invest in GLD, which is just a gold trust backed by real gold. It's just a bunch of gold sitting in a vault somewhere that backs this ETF, and it tracks the value of that gold. So if you wanted to buy in to the price of gold, it would be basically the same thing as buying a bar of gold, except you're not going to have it in your hand in the way that it tracks the value of that gold. So if that sounds interesting to you, GLD, I think it's a great option to be invested in if you wanted to actually track the price of gold and not just invest in the companies that are mining that gold and producing it. So now I just wanted to end the conversation with a little talk about Bitcoin and gold and which one you should be invested in, which I think this is one of the main reasons why the gold prices were kind of going up recently. Before this, they dropped down a little bit. And I think it was because people kind of saw Bitcoin as almost a threat to gold. But I really don't think that they go hand in hand. I think they're two completely different things. I know Bitcoin is referred to as digital gold because there's a limited amount of both. So they both have limited amounts, they both have a production cost, and the fact that when you go and mine gold, it's going to cost you in labor. So when you have these mining companies, it's going to cost them in labor to go get that gold. And Bitcoin also has both those things when you mine Bitcoin, and also the limited amount of Bitcoin that there is, and that's where the value is backed at. But the difference with gold is there's actually something valuable that you're holding in your hand at some point. There's no actual Bitcoin. It's just blockchain. So I'm not saying that Bitcoin's a bad thing whatsoever. I own Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I love cryptocurrency. I think it's going to be the future. But I also think that gold is always going to have its value. But I would say that most importantly, gold is the ultimate currency of central banks. And Bitcoin has proved itself as a store of value. It's constantly gone up. And personally, I can see Bitcoin's market cap surpassing that of gold's by year 2030. So I think that's a great investment for you to be in. I want to do a video on Bitcoin at a later date. But right now, I just wanted to talk about gold because it's a great hedge against inflation. And both of these are great options. So whatever you choose to do here, I highly suggest that you pick one or the other, if not both. Both would be better. And especially those gold mining companies. I think they have a lot of room to grow here in the near future. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to make money in this kind of unsteady market right now. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys found this information very helpful. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button and make sure to stay tuned in for our next and upcoming videos. Thank you.